to the Ambassador of Palestine to India, His Excellency Mr. Adnan Muhammad Jabir Abu Alhaija is with us on the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Let me begin by asking you in terms of what you're hearing about the situation on ground following the airstrike. Several important VIP locations in the Gaza Strip that have been completely flattened. What is the information that you have coming out in terms of the situation on ground, particularly following the kind of electricity, water and various other basic amenities that appear to have been cut off on ground there?
The situation is very bad. The bombing of the Israeli airstrike is everywhere. They are killing mass destruction of the building, and the people are under that destruction. The toll of death is everywhere in Gaza, from Rafah to Beit Hanun, from the north to the south. And maybe you have heard that their Israeli defense minister, what he said, that he will cut off electricity, food, water and fuel. But the most dangerous, what he has described, 2.2 people living in that open air prison, which is Gaza. They describe them as human animals. This, we hear it from minister, consider himself living in a democratic state, not fascist country. So the situation is very bad. Hope this will end as soon as possible.
Right, but Mr. Adnan, if I can ask you, that statement appears to have been made in the wake of what you would also agree are extremely, barbaric attacks that have taken place. We've seen, for instance, the Hamas attack, music festivals. We have seen elderly being taken hostage. We've seen children killed. We've seen the homes of houses being raided and people being murdered there. And a lot of that has actually been caught on camera as well. So in wake of the outrage, not just within Israel, but globally as well, to that terror strike by Hamas, is the context in which that statement has been made. Would you not say that those actions of Hamas are, in that view, condemnable?
Look, I think the reason is the occupation. If there is no occupation, there is no war, there is no any kind of killing, there is no hostages in the occupation. As a Palestinian, we have gone for peace 30 years ago, and we have signed Oslo Agreement. Since that time, the Israelis are destroying the peace process and the peace process and the two-state solution. Hope this is the last war. We have warned from 2021 during the war that if the Palestinians did not get trapped, we will see this another war and third war. We don't know the number of death in the future. We will see. Hope the international community make a real pressure at Israelis to come to peace and to end all that kind of problems, and to see the Palestinian and the Israelis living as brothers in side by side in historical Palestine.
Right, but sir, there have been attempts in the past as well to distinguish between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority or the Palestinian government. And in fact, in the West Bank as well, we've seen several times these differences come out in the open, because there are many who believe that there are a significant number of individuals within Palestine who don't support the Hamas as well. In this view, would you say that the actions of Hamas are condemnable? You may, of course, talk about the role of Israel as far as occupation is concerned, but purely in terms of this escalation, this is something that was avoidable, would you not believe?
No, I believe the occupation only is the reason for everything. Now Hamas, like any other party in India, not all India is BJP or Congress party. in Palestine also, not all the people of the Palestinian Fatah or Hamas or Jihad or the PFLP, right? Each party has his own people. Maybe this party is more stronger than the other. Now, the most problem in West Bank, when we go to West Bank, since this government has been formed last December, 285 people has been killed. The daily killing in West Bank, I'm not talking about the toll in Gaza, I'm talking about West Bank from the beginning of this year. 285 people has been killed from the occupying soldiers or from the settlers. So this is the situation of the Palestinian people.
Right, but sir, you know,
we should find peace. We want to live in peace like
the humanitarian crisis that we are seeing on both sides. I'm not going to say that it's only on the Israeli side, only on the Palestinian side, but yet the kind of attacks that have taken place on vulnerable citizens, innocent citizens, not even men in uniform, on the Israeli side has many people across the world raising questions about whether this particular strike is something that is justified, simply because of the kind of huge humanitarian outpouring. And there's still fighting happening over there, sir. The big question that arises in a situation like this is whether the common citizens of Palestine who are now facing the brunt of Israeli airstrikes, that would not have happened had this incident, had this attack, many would say cowardly attack, not taken place.
Well, let me say that peace will end everything. Now, we condemn the killing of the civilian, if they are Palestinian or Israelis. Right? We don't want to see that in both sides. We want peace. We are struggling for peace. We have signed Oslo Agreement for peace. The Israelis are not coming for peace. We are 6 million people living in West Bank and Gaza Strip. We are not going to live as slaves in our homeland while those settlers who are coming from Russia, from Bulgaria, from Ukraine, from Poland, from Ethiopia as masters, and they are armed and killing the Palestinian people, and we can't even defend ourselves. The international law gives the Palestinian right exactly as the European now. They start to know what is the international law. They said that Israel has the right to defend itself according to the international law. The international law with the Palestinian, and we are looking to the international law. We have more than 800 resolution in the United Nations. Israel have been adhered all this and has never been implemented for one resolution. Come to international law. We are looking for international law. Let's work for peace. Those European, because Netanyahu understand defend itself means you are free to do massacre in the Palestinian people. This is the way where Netanyahu understand the Israel has the right.
You can't deny that United States, United Kingdom, France, Germany, and many countries, including India, have supported Israel as far as this particular incident is concerned, because it's just so shocking that a large portion of the global opinion is against this terror strike. They're saying nothing can justify these kind of terror strikes because nations such as the United States, nations such as India have been victims of similar terror strikes in the past.
The biggest terrorist is the occupation again. It is the biggest terrorist. If there is no occupation, there is no any kind of killing. Let me say that all these countries you have mentioned, they should look to the problem from the same point of view. We have heard from some European that Israelis and Palestinians are not same, which it means in different way what the Minister of Defense, the Israeli Minister of Defense say, that they are human animals. Our blood is not dirty water and their blood is blue blood. they should look, all these countries you have mentioned, they should look to both people from the same point of view.
Yeah, but there's also
Peace
a point
is the only thing which end, otherwise we will see many wars in the future.
Right. There's also a different perspective, sir, that Israel has repeated time and again that it is Iran that is supporting both the Hamas and the Hezbollah. So do you see the potential of this conflict, you know, going from just a conflict between Israel and Gaza to a wider one on different fronts?
I don't know if it's going to be a wider, but about Iran, because they have said more than one time, always Netanyahu carrying this name of Iran and going everywhere in the United Nations, everywhere, every day. I think Mr. Blinken himself, the foreign minister, and other official American, they said we did not find any hand to the Iranian in this conflict.
So you're ruling out the role of Iran in this particular conflict, but there's a possibility because we're shown that visuals have come in of South Lebanon, how people have been evacuated because in that entire region there are very real fears that the issue and the fighting could escalate, given that we're talking about the 5th day and there's still rockets being fired. There's still, in fact, terrorists that Israel say that they are trying to neutralize within their own territory.
And the airstrike are not terrorists. Those who is demolishing all that building, all more than 2,000, 3,000 apartment up to now, the people is there. They don't warn the people in many times, and they killed there. They are not terrorists. Only the Palestinians are terrorists. We are a people who are struggling for peace, to establish the independent state of Palestine in the land of 1967 with East Jerusalem as its capital. This is what we have signed, and this is the international law. We are looking for peace. The biggest terrorist is
peace, why kill 1,000 people? Why launch a coordinated rocket attack strike of 5,000 rockets, send 1,500 terrorists across the border? Surely you can't do that and say that we are for peace.
Why? Why? What about the toll in West Bank? Is there Hamas in West Bank fighting the Israelis? Why, when they have killed 285 people since the beginning of this year between the Israeli soldiers, and is there armed people in West Bank? Why? What about our blood? Are we cheap? Too cheap like that? No one condemned that. As we heard from the European, one of the European, that the Palestinians and the Israelis are not same.
How long do you expect this fighting to continue, Mr. Adnan? Is this going to be a long, protracted war, or is it going to be a short conflict?
I'm looking. I mean, we are working as Palestinian Authority with all parties to stop as soon as possible. We don't want to see more death. We don't want to see more rockets. We don't want to see airstrike. We don't want to see people dies in both sides. Right? And no one, you can ask this one to the Israelis, because the Israelis are refusing, and they are trying to form a national government to continue, supported by those countries who said that the Israelis have the right to defend itself. And Netanyahu, he said, I want more coverage to be free what to do in Gaza. He wants the Palestinian people to go to Egypt from Gaza, by the way.
Right, but Mr. Adnan, you're also meeting with certain civil society members of India later in the day today. What have they told you? I believe there are some prominent writers, intellectuals, etc., who you will be meeting at your embassy. What have they pledged to you in terms of their support?
I think most of the people are looking same for peace. Most of the people with the Palestinian right, the people I have met, right, because they knew that when the Palestinians get their right, peace will be in the area. and I hope this peace will be reflected on all the area if we get it. Otherwise, it won't be the last war. It won't be the last killing. The international community are responsible for that. They should make a real pressure at the Israelis to come to peace. If you notice, that map was with Netanyahu. In the United Nations, there was no Palestine in the map. It was the historical land of Palestine. It was Israel only. 6 million of the Palestinian people are living there. They should have their right and get peace and live like any other people in peace, inshallah.
Mr. And last question, you know, there is a view that has been expressed from Israel's side that they don't want this to be like the past rounds of fighting that have taken place, and they want to find a permanent solution this time round. In light of the airstrikes and the possibility even of ground attacks, perhaps, do you think that Gaza will ever be like we knew it? Because it appears that from what's happening at the moment, Israel really wants to ensure that there is no base left as far as Gaza is concerned in terms of Palestinian or Hamas's support.
If we establish the state of Palestine and West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem as capital, Hamas will be just a political party like any other political party, and there will be only one government ruling the state of Palestine. Hope we will manage to see that as soon as possible.
Well, sir, they are a terrorist organization that has been proscribed by many countries. I don't know how you can say they will be a political party, but certainly, of course, I'd like to thank you for joining us, sharing with us your views, because clearly this is a very controversial position here in India as well. In terms of the ghastly scenes that we saw emerging on Saturday, of course, the kind of collateral damage that we're seeing take place in Gaza also is an issue of international concern. But at this point of time, global opinion appears to be, at least at this point of time, tilted towards Israel, which has managed to say very clearly that they are the victims of terror as far as what has taken place a few days ago. Mr. Adnan, I'd like to thank you for joining us and sharing with us the perspective of Palestine.